welcome to another edition of Kyle Meredith with. It's the interview series presented by WFPK at WFPK.org, Consequence, and the Consequence Podcast Network. Thanks as always for making your way here, for checking out the episode. Hit that subscribe button so you can keep up with the entire series. You'll get 3 brand new interviews sent to you every single week, new and every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, so you can keep up with all of your favorites and discover some new ones. Grab us at Spotify, Apple Podcast, NPR, WFPK.org, Consequence, or of course right here on YouTube for the video versions. Anywhere you get your podcast from, you can subscribe to Kyle Meredith with. That's me, Kyle Meredith. Today, my guest, actor Scoot McNairy. We're going to be talking about the new movie, Blood for Dust. Let's read the synopsis here. In this gritty crime drama, Cliff, that's Scoot, a traveling salesman drowning under the weight of providing for his family, reconnects with Ricky, played by Kit Harington, a colleague from a dark past who lures him down a dangerous path where everything is on the line. It's a very cool looking movie, very moody. And Scoot and I are going to talk all about, we're going to talk about finding this character. We're going to talk about shooting in Montana, in the very, very cold Montana, acting with Kit Harington, Josh Lucas, and Stephen Dorff are also in this movie. We're going to hear a little bit about more of the cast. He's also, Scoot's going to be in Speak No Evil. That's coming out. And so I want to hear about that as well, and so much more. So let's just go ahead and jump into this. We're talking Blood for Dust. It's Kyle Meredith with Scoot McNairy.
Well, Kyle, thanks for having me.
Yeah, Blood for Dust. This is a mood. This is a cool movie. This is a it is a mood though. I mean, but so beautifully shot, and the acting is fantastic. We'll start with the place where you start. Like, what did you see in this script? What was it?
I what I really sort of latched onto is your everyman guy that forced or desperate measures of a guy that's like, what would one do if they were put into this situation in the efforts to support their family? I mean, just sort of that basic through line. There was a whole bunch of other things that came with that as well. Rod Blackhurst is a filmmaker that, we had been chatting for a while and really wanted to do something. And, he made this really incredible documentary, the Amanda Knox documentary on Netflix. And so it took us a while to get this thing going. And it's just something, that same through line of, the everyman falling on desperate measures to support his family was something that's still to this day poignant, and, things, people are going through tough times and stuff. So I always thought that story was really interesting to see what one would do when they were backed into a corner.
Yeah, because I mean, there is that back against the wall feeling. There's the desperation. There's also, I mean, this is the kind of guy that eats at a strip joint.
Yeah, Ricky. Oh, you mean Cliff?
Yeah,
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 I
yeah.
mean, definitely down and out on his luck. Very hopeless.
Yeah. Well, let's say, because obviously there's a lot on the page, but what, like, is there, what extra was, if there was anything extra, do you look at the guy and like, oh, I see beyond just the words here? Like, what did you want to bring?
I felt like that there was a side of Cliff that needed this. His mundaneness of his life and the constant repetition of feeling like he's working and not going anywhere, that there was a certain side of Cliff that leaned into this a little bit more. There was desperate measures that he took that after time he sort of was like, this is so much more exciting and interesting than his personal life. That I think that was something that I found myself sort of leaning into a little bit as the production sort of kicked off.
Yeah. Now, how much of that, I mean, I guess it totally influences, but I was thinking like just how you hold yourself, because there's a lot of, it's almost, I'm trying to think of the word. It's interesting how much physical acting there is in the moments where you're even being still because of that defeat. Like, I don't get that from you right now at all.
Yeah, no, it's very hard for me to stay still. You're not wrong. But that said, I feel like Cliff's stillness linked to what I was saying earlier, that he is totally a fish out of water. and totally out of his element, but yet trying to keep his composure in these times of like he's okay with this and this isn't that crazy. While his stillness is essentially a is from shock, of like he's never seen this kind of world before, or these kinds of people, which left him sort of like a deer in headlights.
Yeah. Yeah, for what you do, like there's a great cast,
Great
but
cast.
great cast, and I'll get to them too. But if I let myself forget about them for a second, like I could be convinced this is a one acting thing. Like there's so much loneliness within Cliff, that is there, and there's so much acting that you do in the silence, the acting in the pauses. Like as an actor, like I don't know if fun's the right word, but like how much do you enjoy that part of it?
Um, I love it. I mean, one of the greatest things about film is that you can just think it and your eyes will tell you what's going on. I think that's something that's really hard, even for me, to lean into as an actor. That you don't really have to do so much. You know what I mean? If you think it, then you can see it. And it's a great. I feel like I'm really experimenting a lot with that more, and or trusting in that a lot more than I have in the past, or really realizing such an importance to the stillness. Um, and I also love it too when I watch films or watch other actors, when you get to see them process it like in real time. You get to see them actually really discover it for the first time, and I don't know. I just feel like that's such an important part of the storytelling element, for the audience. To really have your actor, or your lead, or whoever it is, female or male, that you're following, to really be with them. And so there's something about that that's, sometimes we're just still in life, and to really be with somebody, it feels like that those are big pieces of the pie that need to be, um, uh, I don't know the word, laid down, or I don't know, I lost the word.
Yeah, it's in the air today. Remember that too. I won't get off track, but I was even thinking about like so I watched the trailer for Speak No Evil,
Mm,
and maybe because there's such a dynamic with the McAvoy in what he's doing over here, but like I can see that even kind of creeping in there, like
mhm.
it feels like maybe a bit of a similar character, and
I
from what I can
mean,
gather.
yeah, McAvoy's character is such a boisterous, just, bigger than life character, and same with Speak No Evil. I think that, my character is mesmerized by him. I mean, he just wants so much to be like James's character. Like, there's everything. If I could just be like this, it would solve all my problems. And so there is a certain sense of uh, him being in awe of James's character in the film. That being said, like the rest of the cast in this film is incredible as well,
Mhm.
and it was the four of us that really, was the glue to this, and James did a really incredible job at remaking a film but making it different and unique. I'm really excited about that movie to come out, man. I
Yeah.
really am. It's really good. It moves really fast, and I think audiences are really gonna like it.
Well, that's and to see again how you're reacting to your scene partners, with James over here wanting to be like him, but then Kit's, and that's the opposite. We don't want to be like Kit's character, but
Totally.
like what? So I'll get it. Like Kit as a scene partner, like what do you get from him? Like what's that relationship between the two of you?
Kit was awesome. I mean, I've watched him for years, and I was a big fan of him and his show. But seeing Kit come to this job, and like everything that he brought to this character, and it only made me more ecstatic about the film as a whole. I just thought he was great. He was incredibly lovely to work with, lovely to be around. But also this character that he brought was so interesting and so fascinating that I mean, it really got me excited about the movie on his first day, to see what he had put together, and it was just really great, and we had a lot of fun.
Yeah, I mean the dynamics, yeah, of the two of you all, in the car scenes just, it's so loud on one side and so, small and quiet. I mean, it really does work perfectly.
Yeah, no, he was great. He was just great.
Yeah. And then of course there's the landscapes. And I was talking about that earlier with the look of this. I mean, it's such a specific look and a mood. Um, how much how much of the work does the landscape do for you in
So
moments like
much.
this?
So much, man. I love shooting on location. I love being out in the middle of nowhere or in the woods or the fields or the cold or the heat. It definitely helps. It brings another element to thing that you don't have to think about, you know. This movie was originally going to be shot, and I think in a sort of desert atmosphere, or, geographical location. And so knowing that it was going to be moved to Montana for budgetary reasons, I was like, this adds so much more to it. And now having looked at the film, I can't even imagine if we had shot it in, Albuquerque or somewhere like that. It just would have lent itself to a different type of film. And I don't know, I loved it. I loved it. I mean, it was cold, but I loved it.
Well, I mean, is it fair to say, and I'm only going by what I've sort of seen you post online in the past, like big fan of the outdoors?
Yeah, man, I do anything outdoors, anything. I don't, you know what I mean, even a porch. But yeah, I love all aspects. I mean, I'm a Texas kid, so we grew up fishing and exploring and mudding trucks and stuff. So yeah, we spent a lot of time outdoors as kids. I have very few memories of being inside somewhere.
I haven't mudded. I'm in Kentucky. I haven't mudded in too long.
I'm still a kid, man. If you put even on Blood for Dust, it was icing, and every time I pulled into a crew parking lot, I just had to do a couple donuts. You know, I just couldn't help myself.
Get into that. They didn't put that in the movie, bro, right? I don't
No,
see
they
it.
didn't.
It's a shame. It's probably would have been out of character. Yeah, I mean, it's more four-wheeling around here, but
Yeah.
yeah, I'm gonna put that back on the. But like, I don't know if sometimes you get the luxury of choosing the script, and sometimes you have to take the job. But like, how often does that at least influence what you go after? Like talking about on location, the outdoor aspect.
I think the location, I have to say, is a big part of like the project. It's mostly the story, but location is a huge perk. And so um I don't know. I mean, it's a good question. I mean, I did a TV show that was all on a soundstage. And I guess the best way I can answer this question is just everyone knew that I was just on the other side of the door outside. That's where I would always stay. If we had a break or time, I would just go step outside. I was always outside. And so I realized on that job of how much, like the second there was time, I just wanted to get outside. And that said, Narcos Mexico, I knew how they shot that film or that TV show, that I was really excited to go to a bunch of locations that you can't book on a tourist trip.
Right.
You know what I mean? They just don't have these vacations. So we were in some very remote locations, and I love meeting the people in the town and seeing the area and just being outside, and seeing the wildlife and the nature and the landscape, all of it.
Yeah, I love that. Even a porch. That's a
Even a
belongs on a
porch.
belongs on a shirt or a mug or something. I don't know. It's
Just give me a porch.
does um does setting Blood for Dust in 1992 offer anything extra that you wouldn't have gotten otherwise?
I think it alleviated cell phones,
Uh,
which was a big one. It just got rid of the sort of communication between the two, because that's always been a big trial, I feel like, from 2005 to 2015, of incorporating, well, hold on, they could call, and so there was that part of it. But it also, I feel like the time period lent itself to what was actually happening and what you could actually get away with during that time, running drugs and running that I think Rod and David, the writer, just really felt like, we wanted to ground it, make it real, and make it believable, and it just was easier to be set in a time period.
yeah, and of course, just putting it in sales too. I mean, sales still exist, but there is something almost antique about the way that they're doing it.
Yeah, yeah,
Uh,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah. and just getting to play with the stuff. Of course, had the budget been a little bit better, maybe in '92, it was some soundtracking. What's I don't know. I was trying to think there for a second, like what would have been the big songs that would have played really well in this, or the big bands that would have played well in a movie like this.
But you also got to think though too that like being from Texas, if there was some trend of I don't know going on, it didn't hit Texas for 3 or 4 years at that time back then. So a lot of the stuff being in a small town in Montana, they were, you know what I mean? They were still listening to things from 1985, you know what I mean? But I think Rod and the music composer Nick, he's amazing. I love the score that he put together and for this particular film, and he was on set too there the whole time, and so a great guy, incredibly talented. So it was really cool to see what he had done, what he came up with to do for this film.
Yeah. No, again, it's a mood. And I mean that I'd say that in the most complimentary way. I don't want to sound, a little backhanded or anything. Like I think, someone at the beginning said something about Fargo, and it's not exactly that. I think that's an easy thing just because it's cold and, and there's murder and all of that. But to crack that code, as the phrase goes, to for all those pieces to come in place and to feel like that, I can feel that cold, I can smell that barn, which, once you act, it's out of your hands, and all compliments to the crew, the DP, and everybody, because it's nailed it.
Well, Justin Derry, I mean, Rod Blackhurst, Justin Derry, Nick, all of his department heads, they've been working together for 10 years, doing, commercials or music videos or other short films and whatnot. This is a really tight-knit group. So, yeah, Justin Derry did a phenomenal job with the cinematography. Wonderful guy, incredibly talented. We were really lucky to have him. And so, I just think as a whole, these guys all knew each other. They know each other so well. They have such a great language with each other. And that shows up on the screen of everybody sort of being on the same page to tell the exact same story.
Yeah. And then, he didn't even mention really like Josh Lucas, Stephen Dorff.
Ah,
I mean, just,
phenomenal.
seriously, just, what they're doing, even
Yeah,
with
I mean,
limited amount of screen time.
yeah, Josh Lucas come in, knocks it out of the park. I think he was there for like a week, maybe less. Ethan Suplee, I mean, Stephen
Ethan
Dorff.
Suplee. Yeah.
I was very humbled to see these actors that I, hold on such a pedestal come and support me in a film that I was leading. So it was it was a humbling experience to know that, oh wow, that's so amazing that these guys that I really respect, love their careers, would come and work on this film with us. So it was awesome. We were so lucky to get all that cast.
Yeah, and it's great to see you in this lead. Seriously, what you do with this character, I couldn't take my eyes off of it. I cannot wait to see on top of this, Speak No Evil, as we were talking about, and then what is it? Nightbitch? Are you a
Hey,
Nightbitch?
bitch. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Mari Heller. This is going to be an interesting one. She's made such a unique film. I loved it. I can't say enough great things about it. It's so different. It's not what anyone's going to expect. Amy Adams is phenomenal in it. I mean, I'm not just saying that. She's phenomenal in it. And she was so lovely to work with and to be around. Yeah, I can't wait till I'm really interested to see people's reaction to this film. But I loved it and thought it was really good, really well done. And Mari Heller is just she's a force to be reckoned with. Her movies are so good and so unique and stuff. So I'm really interested for people to see it.
Yeah, and that's the feeling I've got because I don't know much about it. I mean, you see that title, right? And I think was it a book first? Is that right?
It was an adaptation from a book. You're correct.
Yeah, so but even just seeing that title, it's like, what now? And then you see the cast, and I'm going in, I'm completely blind on it right now. I really don't know, but that's the feeling I get. Like this is going to be something, but like I feel like we're back in a nice, I don't want to say golden era because whatever that means, but like weird cinema starting to reign again.
And I
Or
feel like too, with the strike and things, the independent market for independent films, yeah, the budget's gone down a little bit for independent, but I feel like I'm hopeful that we'll come across a whole 1990s slew of like great independent films that are only bought at festivals.
right.
Um, I hope that that's coming, just a whole nother golden era of independent films.
Yeah, because it makes sense. I mean, you hear about, there's so many less major productions in play at the moment, like huge percentage, right? So like that would be the obvious thing. Like that's just this big hole
I,
for
I,
independent.
well, let's just say we hope it's happening now. We won't really see that wave for another year to 2 years, but I imagine that it's happening now. I know a lot of people that are really just going out and shooting, not waiting for budgets.
Yeah, even in Louisville, it's we got a good tax break here in Louisville, so in Kentucky, but it's been happening here. Josh Lucas, my son was working with him just last year
Yeah,
on Queen of the
awesome.
Ring. That's still not out, but it's even noticeable out here, and I love
Uh,
it because you're getting original stories.
yeah, no, I feel like you guys, Louisville had 12 productions there in the last
Probably,
4 months or something.
yeah,
So that's
that's a lot going
awesome.
on.
I love Kentucky.
Hit me up next time you're around. We'll go mudding.
I will. That's awesome, Kyle.
It's good. Thank you so much for taking the time. It was a real pleasure.
Hey, Kyle, thank you so much for having me. I really enjoyed talking to you.
And thanks to my guest. Also, thanks to you for checking out the episode in the series. Before you get out of here, hit that subscribe button. Again, you get 3 brand new interviews every single week. New one every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at right here on YouTube, or of course anywhere in podcast land, including iTunes, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Podchaser, NPR, or WFPK.org as well. A great way to keep up with your favorite artists and discover new ones as well. Then after that, actually head over to WFPK.org. That's where I do a show Monday through Friday, 6 p.m. Eastern. It's an hour full of song premieres, music news, anniversary spins, bonus interviews, Monday through Friday, 6 p.m. Eastern at WFPK.org. Consequence has your music and film news. You can also find me on the social media spots, Facebook, Instagram, mostly on Twitter. All 3 of them, the address is at Kyle Meredith. Do hope you like and follow along. That does it for another edition. I'm Kyle Meredith. I'll see you next time.